Welcome back to the Gentle Counsellor podcast. My name is Crystal and I support mums through their inner healing and parenting journeys. For those of you listening right now, this episode is a little bit different because back in October of 2021, it was World Mental Health Day and I had some wonderful friends join me over 3 days to talk all about mental health and motherhood at the Aussie Mums Mental Health virtual event. I hope you enjoyed these conversations, which were recorded live at the summit. I'm also thrilled to let you know that we will be returning in 2022 and plan on making it even bigger and better. It may or may not involve a retreat. Wherever you are right now, I hope these episodes find you when you truly need it. I would love to hear your feedback on these chats, so make sure you're connected with me on social media at The Gentle Counsellor. If you'd like to receive an email once a month that is full of freebies, parenting tips, links to podcast episodes, beautiful affirmation screensavers, and other goodies, make sure you are signed up to my email list. I hope you enjoy this chat.
Yep.
Okay, great. And we are back. Welcome everyone to our final session of today for our Aussie Mums Mental Health virtual event. Thank you so much for joining us for all of our chats today. And if you are watching us live, go ahead and say hello in the comments below so that I can see that you're there. And I can see who's joining us live for tonight's session. If you are watching this as a replay later on, still pretend like you're here with us live, because we will come back to this to make sure that we are chatting along with all of you. And if you have any questions at all, again, make sure to put those in the comments below. You can ask them throughout the session or afterwards, and we'll make sure to get back to you. So I am joined by Jess tonight, and we are going to be talking about finding your joy. And I think that is going to be a peak interest to a lot of us, especially during, the last 2 years everyone's had. I think it's something we all really need. So welcome, Jess. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you so much for having me. So excited.
It's so great to connect with so many different people. And let's start off by you telling us a bit about what you do and why you do it.
Okay, so my name's Jess Hollamby. I'm a Reiki master and teacher and a myotherapist. I'm now based in Melbourne. I spent my whole life up until about 8 weeks ago living in South Australia, and decided that it was time that I follow my joy, and I moved to Melbourne. So at the moment, as you can see behind me, lots of furniture. I'm actually living in a hostel, which I'm actually really excited about. But yeah, so mental health has been something that's in my life personally since I was in my teens. So it's something I've been around my whole life, pretty much.
Yeah. I think that's why a lot of us do what we do, is that we all have our own kind of personal experience with it. People that go into helping professions usually have something that they've gone through as well. And so why do you think in particular the topic of finding your joy is so close to your heart?
Because I've lived most of my life not having any joy, or I spent so long making other people happy and living my life to the way it's supposed to be, that I ended up in a place where I didn't recognize myself all my life.
That sounds really hard.
Yeah, it was. And it was like, even the journey out of that was hard. But so much growth and so many new opportunities that I wouldn't actually normally take up because of those restrictions that we put on ourselves. Yeah,
and it was either us following through with those internal beliefs that were put onto us by others. And I like how you said, like, supposed to be. It's all those shoulds. When you notice yourself saying something like, I should be doing this, or I should be doing that, that's what I'm supposed to do. It's like, where is that coming from?
Yeah.
Where are all those shoulds and supposed to's coming from?
Well, that's it. Like, I was 6 months away from being married.
Wow.
I got to that point and I'm like, why are we actually doing this? Neither of us are really all that happy. And I don't really want my life to continue down the path it's going.
Wow, what a full-on realization you had. Like, I can't even imagine the absolute like bombshell after bombshell of epiphany that you must have been having to like finally break out of that, you know, negative space that you were in, to really be like waking up to like what is actually going on around here.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's, you know, when you're in a relationship, you have those arguments over and over and over again. And I got to the point where I'm like, I don't want to keep having this argument every 3 months for the rest of my life.
Yeah. And there's a big difference between having those arguments and then both coming together to say, hey, like, we know that we have our good moments and we know we can work through this, and like, let's look at ourselves individually. Let's look at how we're like triggering each other in our relationship. Then there's a big difference where you're like, that's not happening. I've had this conversation enough times. Like, I don't know how many more tears I can shed. And then to call it enough is enough because you've chosen yourself.
Yeah. And like, even at the time, what was I? I was 20, 25. What am I now? I'm 34. Maybe 27. No, I was 25.
Yeah.
And like, everything was on track. And at the time, I didn't know what triggers were. I didn't know what shadow work was. I had no clue about what was happening. I just knew this wasn't it. This wasn't supposed to be in my life. I wasn't supposed to be the dutiful housewife who stayed home, and I am meant for so much more. And that path to finding my joy it's been amazing. Like, at the moment, for those who follow me on Instagram or Facebook will know that I'm recapping my years since the ending of that relationship, and sharing my healing journey along the way. And that for me has actually been a really good way to process everything I went through.
Sharing your story.
Because not only did I live it, but I don't think I've never reflected on it.
And that's important.
Like, obviously I can see where I was and where I am now, but processing everything in the middle.
Yes, and that is very important, because that's where all the good stuff and the horrible stuff, you know, happens. But that's what is like so impactful, and obviously what led you to where you are today and where you're still going. Like you're still on your journey. And I love how you start off being like, I'm in a hostel and I love it.
Oh, it's amazing.
Like, this is great. This is like part of me finding my joy. This is exactly where I'm meant to be right now.
That's it. Like, I refer to myself as an introverted extrovert.
Okay, that's a good way to put it.
I have a limit of peopling that I can do before that is it.
I can relate.
For me to stay in a hostel.
Ironically, having the room to yourself.
Yes, it was amazing. It's been amazing. 8 weeks by myself and only interacting when I want to. Really nice.
That's so great.
And
what made you decide to join us at our virtual event?
So when I was first asked, my gut instinct was to decline. Obviously, I'm not a mother, and what the heck would what would I be able to add to a topic that I don't have any personal experience with? Not only that, but I'm not really great with public speaking and being exposed on a platform like this. This is very, very much outside my comfort zone, so much that I've been freaking out all afternoon.
Oh my gosh. Part of me is like, oh no, I'm so sorry that you went through that. And then the other part of me is like, I'm so glad that we're your first. I'm so glad that you like, you're here, you did it, you've done it. That's an amazing achievement in itself.
It is. It's such an opportunity for self-growth. And it's so important. That's how we evolve and keep moving forward. Most of the time when we end up in the situations we're not happy, where we've got no joy, is because we've stopped moving forward. We've stopped that self-growth. We've sort of got like stuck in a swamp.
And it's not allowing any new experiences to happen.
No. Everything gets darker. It gets the more solidified, and it gets harder and harder to shift out of those patterns.
Yes, yeah. And Jess and I were talking a bit before we started the live about, just because you don't have personal experience with someone doesn't mean you can't support them or that you can't relate to them at all. Being a mother is just one aspect of who we all are in this group. And even like with myself in counseling, like I see clients that have been extremely traumatized by certain events, and I definitely have no true understanding of what they've gone through, but I can still be there to hold space for them. And so I think that part of the missing village that we have these days as mums is also welcoming anyone who is willing to help us and be there for us, because we sure as hell know that we need it. So I'm so grateful for you taking the leap and being here with us still today to share part of your journey and to talk about finding your joy.
Well, that was the other thing. Once I actually stopped to think about it, as a myotherapist and like Reiki master, the majority of my clients are women. And of course, being a woman myself, that's what tends to normally happen. But I see women from ages like 20 to 70, and a large majority are actually mothers. I'm really, like my friend group, pretty much surrounded by mothers who have all had different experiences having children. So the ones that have suffered like postpartum depression, the ones who suffered from depression the whole way through their pregnancy. For myself and my mental health, I'm looking forward to having kids. I'm on medication for the rest of my life. So for me to have kids, I have to stop that medication, which means I need to look after my mental health. And it's such a huge priority. That's what really, I think that's why the main reason I said yes was knowing that journey is coming up for me. To be able to support people now while they're already in that space is really important.
To learn and see so much from what other people go through too. And I know that you talked a lot about being nervous in the lead up to this. And I think that's going to lead us really great into talking a bit about emotional regulation. So can you talk to us a bit about the importance of emotional regulation as adults?
Okay, so because
I'm sure you had to do a lot of it for yourself.
So emotional regulation is something I am actually really passionate about. Being able to identify what you're feeling, being able to give it a name or a color, or to locate where it is within your body is a massive thing. If even doing one of those things is a great step into moving forward to be able to get back in contact with your emotions. So for me, that was my first step in finding my joy, was to be able to connect with my emotions and with my body. Out there are some amazing wheels of emotion. I give these to quite a few clients just as a starting point, because there are so many descriptive words for what you are feeling. And just because something that comes up quite regularly is anger. Anger is very much a surface emotion. Once you get past that anger and actually dive into what you are actually feeling, it's a lot deeper and a lot more complicated. And it
sounds like we're having very similar discussions with maybe the same clients. I do the same thing. They're having the feelings wheel is so helpful to being like, when you say you feel angry, there's other things that are going on, like resentment, disappointment, fear, there's so many things. And I love that you're talking about that as well, because we've got to be able to identify it and feel it. And especially when you've not been allowing yourself or not being allowed to experience those emotions fully in their depth, because you haven't been in a supportive environment, or you haven't had people role model to you how to even, deal with that effectively. It's really challenging to learn how to do that.
And this is why it's so important to do it while either before you have kids or while your kids are still young.
We talk about it so much, especially as parents, because we're having to help our kids through it. And then most of us at the same time are also learning how to actually regulate ourselves. It's
so important that your kids see
Oh, just ignore that. Keep
Okay.
going.
Like, it's so important that your kids see that you have emotions and how you handle it. And yeah, sometimes the emotions override the reaction we have. It happens to all of us. Look at a toddler having a tantrum.
Yeah.
They can't find the words to express how they feel. So that's how it comes out. It's just a physical reaction.
Yeah.
So being able to find the words to put it together, to go and then explain, this is what I'm feeling, this is how I'm reacting, and this is how we're going to go next. So putting it into a process and helping them emotionally regulate as well gives them, I think, better opportunities to be able to express themselves the older they get, especially when it comes to their teenage years.
Yeah, they need it so much. I always say to people, and we all of a sudden wonder why we have angry teenagers.
Yeah.
Or we can reflect back and think if we, can relate to that, being a very angry teenager. And it's like, well, who did you actually have to teach you how to be with your emotions? Who was actually supporting you through that? Instead, we internalize it like as if there's something wrong with us because we didn't know how to be angry, or we were taught that being angry is bad and that we shouldn't ever feel that way. So then we have the labeling of bad emotions, which no emotions are bad. They're all feelings. We all experience them.
Yeah.
But it's, I don't think much else can happen until you kind of have that as like your base level understanding of what it is to be a human and to fully live in your human experience.
And I think the other thing, as women, we're told to be quiet. We're told not to express ourselves. We're told to shrink and hide and keep all those sorts of things hidden away, which doesn't help. We need to be able to not necessarily have the confidence, but to be empowered to feel like we can stand up for ourselves and express ourselves the way we need to without being shoved back into a box.
Yes, you are allowed to take up space.
Yeah, you can take up as much space as you like.
Yes, you definitely can.
So you can see me right now.
A room for 8 people. I've got all of it.
That's it.
So for anyone who is listening that may be having a really hard time and struggling, what advice or recommendations can you give them?
Okay, so I have 3 things I recommend to everyone that comes in to see me. First off, once a month, go get a massage. Go get in touch with your
my favorite person
body.
Already.
I do not care whether it is relaxation, remedial, myotherapy, physiotherapy, osteopathy, chiropractics. I do not care. Go and see someone for body work. Once a month, minimum. You need to get back in touch with your physical body. That is part of reconnecting with who you are.
Yeah.
So before I moved, I did a corporate seated massage for a law firm, and I saw 13 clients that day. The most recent one who'd had a massage would have been Christmas. So we're talking 7 months. Everyone else had been a couple of years. And I couldn't believe that you're not putting yourself first. You're the one that is looking after everyone else. Who is looking after you? This is why the massage and body work is so important, because that's the time to connect to yourself and actually pay attention to what's happening in your body.
Yeah.
So a regular check-in once a month. It's just a nice little reminder that you're important. It's time to relax. It's time away from everything else. And just time to reconnect to you.
I really like how you phrase it as it's time to connect with yourself and your body, because commonly when we talk about like self-care and it's about, spending the money on getting your nails done on massage or whatever, it kind of takes away from, okay, but what is that actually doing for you? And I don't think I've ever considered it in the way that you're putting it. And so I'm really glad that you've brought that up. That's such a great point.
So the next thing I do is I get my clients to write a list of what brings them joy. So I actually ask them during like a myotherapy or a massage session.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the time I get back, I don't know what makes me happy anymore.
And what a red flag that is.
Yeah. If you don't have anything outside of your children and your immediate family that makes you happy, what are you doing? Why aren't you happy anymore? What did you stop doing along the way that brought you joy and happiness? So I give them a little bit of homework and I get them to write a list of 10 things. Now, sometimes this takes a couple of appointments to process through and eventually get the list of 10. And then I get them to stick it on the fridge. Too excited. Too many hands in the air. I get them to stick it on the fridge and I go, okay, what's one thing you can do every day on that list to give you that little bit of joy in your day if you're having a bad day?
Yeah.
Say everything's gone to shit. Everything's fallen apart. It's gone opposite way of everything you wanted it to go. It happens. Happens to everyone.
Yeah, it does.
You need to be able to go, okay, I know I can do this and it's going to pick me up. Doesn't have to be a big thing. Doesn't have to be an expensive thing. Doesn't have to be a time-consuming thing. Just need to be able to go, okay, I can do this. I have time. I feel better and continue on. It just makes you stop and think about what's actually going on.
Yeah, and taking care of yourself, because when you asked that question before, like, who is taking care of you?
Yeah.
The unfortunate answer a lot of times is that we are having to take care of ourselves because there is no one else to do it for us for whatever reason it might be. And so at some point we do need to do it. Yeah.
It sort of comes back to those expectations. That, you know, as soon as you enter motherhood, you know, you're no longer a person.
Yeah.
Which isn't true.
We find it far too easy to put ourselves at the bottom of the list. Yeah.
And we need to start promoting ourselves again. We need to be at the top of that list, because if we're not okay, the kids aren't going to be okay. The house isn't, the husband, the partner, whoever else is involved isn't going to be okay. And you're going to keep pushed further and further back. So by finding little moments of joy within your day, just helps bring you up a level.
Yeah.
And my third one is, when was the last time you played like a child?
That's a good one.
You know, you see,
not played with your child.
No,
played like a child.
Definitely like. When was the last time you put music on and danced around your room or the house? Or, you know, really let go of what, oh my God, what are other people going to think of me?
Yeah.
And just enjoyed it.
And take up space.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, you look at like young kids and toddlers as they're developing with like the intro music to a TV show. You know, they just dance around. They're so happy and joyful and blissful. And what happened to that?
Yeah, we used to be that child.
Yeah.
They're still there.
That's it.
They're still within us.
No, the child who loved gymnastics or doing cartwheels or rolling down hills and, you know, all those little things. So my recommendation is, next time you see your child doing something like that, do it with them.
Yeah, Sarah's just commented, get your hands into the dough and get flour everywhere. Make a mess. Who cares?
That's it. Get the cake batter all over the kitchen.
Yeah.
Deal with it later.
Yeah. She also said, as a mum, body work isn't always easy, but it's worth it. When my babies were little, we stuck with the Cara who saw babies too. That's a good idea, because then you can kind of like combine the two. We all get our body work in within a setting that supported mamas. Now that they are a bit bigger, getting remedial massage in that peaceful setting is possible, but we still love going as a family to see our favorite Cara. I never thought about it like that. That's a really good way to do both, meeting the needs for your children, also meeting your own needs. Because we're so quick to make those appointments for our kids, aren't we? And then we don't even do it for ourselves. Like if your kid needed, you know, $1,000 massage that was like magically going to, I don't know, cure an ailment, I don't know, something I'm making up, would be like, yep, take my money.
That's it.
But for us, we're like, oh no.
Well, that's the other thing, you know, so many women are coming in with chronic pain issues.
The
moment that pain starts, your body adapts and it changes and it alters the way you do things. So the longer you put off those self-care massage or chiro or physio or whatever it is, those appointments, the longer it's going to take for you to get back to a position where you're not in pain anymore. And by then your body's adjusted how you function. So that you then have to readjust everything again. It takes longer. Whereas
we do leave it far too long. We just kind of get on with it, and we think that's what we're supposed to do. There's that word again.
No, pain is not normal. Pain is a response to an abnormality in the body. This whole different story.
You're like, that's something else I could talk about all day long. Well, I appreciate everything that you've shared. I'm just like having all these like little epiphany moments, and now I can't wait to go and book my monthly appointment to get a massage, because that's actually been a goal of mine, but I was justifying bringing in enough income for that, which is ridiculous, because when you think about it over a month, like to what you'd need every week to save up for it, it's like, actually that's so silly. Let's prioritize ourselves a bit more. So, you know, even I have to have the reminder sometime too. And it's like deeply nourishing things, but I really like how you framed it as like connecting to your body, because that's something that we just don't do. We just forget. We are used to giving up our body, you know, like for pregnancy and birth and breastfeeding and all that. And then we kind of forget, like, we're allowed to enjoy our body as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So as we are finishing our chat right now, can you tell everyone where they can find you more, or how you can help them?
Okay, so complicated but not. So being in Melbourne, my myotherapy is on hold until we come out of lockdown. You can find me on Instagram and Facebook, Your Wellness Space. Was it your_wellness_space on Facebook and Instagram. As soon as I have more information about opening up and where I'm starting and all that sort of stuff, that'll go up. Hopefully end of the month, fingers crossed. I am offering a special for anyone watching this. I do a 30-minute free one-on-one discovery call. But I'm also offering a special for my 60-minute one-on-one calls. So during these appointments, we pick a couple of areas, we go through them, we find out what's actually happening, and we start looking at ways to either help heal through like distance Reiki, or whether it's things that you can implement in your life from your end. And we just sort of take it step by step and go from there. I'll pop the links in afterwards.
Yep, awesome.
And you can all click through. I'm also doing online Reiki at the moment, so it's really good at for relaxation and stress relief.
Definitely need that.
And I'm also running Reiki certification at the moment. So
cool.
If you're interested in completing any Reiki, Reiki 1 is ready to go. I'm picking out dates. I want to do one more before the end of this year, and then I'm picking out a couple of dates for early next year. I start Reiki 2 mentorship in December. It's not advertised till tomorrow.
So you get the early scoop now.
That's it. 12 hours early. And I teach my first Reiki 2 class on Sunday. Yeah.
Perfect. We have just had a sneaky question come in.
Yeah.
Jess, what activity is your go-to when you are flat and looking to reset with some fun?
Okay, so I have had to give up most of my self-care in the last 8 weeks, which has made me really, really sad. So while I was in Adelaide, I was having podiatry, massage, pedicures, hairdressers, and my own healing sessions. My go-to is my hairdresser, which I'm really, really missing right now. I bleached it myself yesterday and my roots are yellow and it's driving me bonkers. But yeah, my go-to is either at the moment is a nap. I love a nap.
A good nap can fix anything.
That's it. Beautiful. Or music.
Yes.
I've been listening to Disney music.
Yep.
So like all the
get that inner child going. Yeah.
So much fun.
Yeah, I've been listening to like all my favorite old school like emo thousands kids that some of us might relate to. And it's been so fun to like listen back to it again. Some moments are sort of triggering, like remembering how I would have felt at that time, but then it's good because then it opens up an opportunity to kind of like work through that.
That's it.
Similar to Disney, like my daughter recently did a ballet recital, like her first one, so it was really exciting. And she's my highly sensitive kiddo, so we were just impressed that she was brave enough and actually did it. But they played the Little Mermaid Part of This World one, and oh man, it was so hard. Like that song already triggers me and I want to cry. And it was so hard as I'm already like a proud mum, like watching my child, and I'm like, could feel it. And I just started biting my cheek. I'm like, you cannot be the mum that cries in public because people don't understand what's actually happening. And they're just going to think you're some weirdo and crying. And I told my husband, and so later he checked on me. He's like, have you allowed yourself to cry yet? And I'm like, not yet. But yeah, it's like important. We try to overcomplicate things sometimes. The simple things like, you know, taking care of yourself physically or listening to music, and like music you used to enjoy, it can bring you joy.
That's it. Absolutely. It doesn't have to be big and fancy.
It doesn't. Thank you so much for I'm just distracted because I've seen another comment, but it's fine. I need to stop looking at it now. Seriously though, Jess, thank you so much for coming in and taking the time to talk with us and for being so brave and taking this leap. I know we appreciate you so much. And again, if anyone has any more questions for Jess, put them in the comments and she'll come back to answer them. And make sure you go and check her out. Keep your eyes on when she's opening up again. You know, once, you know, we get back to whatever our new normal is going to be after all of this.
That's it. Thank you so much, Crystal. It's been so much fun.
Thanks, Jess.
See ya.